Woodturners Journal. Today we're going to be making this beautiful box. It's a sycamore box with a mesquite lid and then a sycamore handle. I ended up using mesquite just for a little bit of a contrast. It's a little bit of a darker wood than the sycamore, so I thought it would look good, but it goes together because I end up putting the sycamore handle on it. And then we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today I'm going to be experimenting with the texturing tool to put this band around it as well as on top of the lid. It's a texturing tool that I picked up online, and I've only used it one other time just to test it. So this is really my first time using it in a project, but overall I'm pretty happy with the results. I bought this one online. If you're interested, at the end of the video I'll have a link to buy it. And that being said, let's just get started. I'm going to start out with my bowl gouge to get this to basically the round shape that I want. All right, I got the basic shape of what I'm gonna do here, but I do have a lot of cracking that's going on. So wood is hard to come by with me. I live in Las Vegas. It's, there's not a lot of, there's trees, but it's not there's no forests or anything that I could get my hands on trees or wood easily, so I need to make do with what I have. So with all this, I'm going to fill this. They don't look like cracks that are really bad. I mean, this is a thick one, but it doesn't look like it goes all the way through. It kind of stops. It's about that big. And then there's all these little random ones. I'm going to fill these in. This basically as low as I'm going to come down with it. This is about the shape of it. I do have actually a little more, but I'm actually going to put a straight bead right here. But before I do it, it's going to be round here and then flat right here. There's going to be a flat edge, 3/4 of an inch to an inch, somewhere in there. So, but before I do it, I want to fill this all in. So I'm going to use coffee grounds that I have. I dry out old coffee grounds and then I actually puree them more, like half of them, and to make it into a really fine powder. So half are mixed coarse and half is really fine, and that way I could work it in there. And so we'll do that, CA glue it really well, and then kind of finish the tenon here, get it where the chuck could grab onto it, and then go from there. I just kind of work it in there. I don't know if you all do this at home, but I put down this scrap piece of board here because obviously the CA glue is going to drip. I don't want to get it on my lathe. I could get it off, but it's just more work. It's a pain. All right. I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes. I'm going to do the same process on the other side. And then I'm going to take my scraper and kind of just clean it up a bit. All right, here we are. It's dry. It's been drying. I let it dry for about 10 minutes or so. I was working on some other stuff. And now I'm just going to take my bowl scraper and then lightly just kind of get this off of it and make it flush and smooth. See how we did. I may have to add a little bit more. I don't think right there because I still have to even that out. Let's just go and see how we did. To take a little bit more, I'll switch to my bowl gouge again. Make that square like I said. Needs a little bit more coffee in there. A lot of it held up pretty nice, but I've took away material where some of it's exposed. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it one more time and then take the scraper again and just even it all out. Got it filled pretty well. And then I scraped it. The rest of this, what you see is a little bit of glue that's soaked through. It's all right. I still have to sand and finish, so we'll be fine there. And now I'm going to basically finish off this tenon. I'm going to use my skew. I'm going to come in at an angle, just a little bit, just shave a hair, and then I'm going to make this flush with my bowl gouge here. Looks good. I'm not going to bore you with the sanding part, but I am going to tell you that I have been wet sanding a lot more. I feel like it gets the finish that I want a lot faster. So, like, I'm going to start off with 100, and then I've been using you could just use some soap and some water and whatnot. I'm using an actual soapy cleaner. It doesn't really matter, but I'll show you really fast what I do. I kind of start sanding until all the moisture is gone. And all the glue is basically gone. I'll tell you why I do it. I started doing it because moisture will raise the grain on the wood. Well, with me raising any imperfections and then taking sandpaper and sanding it smooth, you end up taking off the material you want to take off really, really quick. Any kind of tear out or anything along those lines, I found that it burns through that really fast, so you don't have to work out. So say you had a little bit of tear out mark there, rather than sitting here really sanding and trying to get it down, this makes short work of all of it. So it's just something I started doing. I seem to really like it. And then even at 100 grit, this is already feeling really smooth. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to sand down to probably around 320, 400, somewhere in there. And then we're going to put the texturing on this before we flip it around. All right, here we are. I sanded it down to 320. Right now I think that's good enough. It's already shining, looks almost polished. And now I want to, because even after doing this, the texturing, you need to sand down the rough edges right here lightly. So right here, this thing, I'm not sure if you could see, but it has numbers on here. I went ahead and I put it on what I believe to be 2 because it's worn off. And I'm just going to, I set this at a lower speed. I'm putting the flat part on the tool rest. I'm going to hold it steady and then slowly work it over for the size of the bead that I want. Like I said, I've only done this one other time, so hopefully this works out good. I think even after the one time I got the hang of it. So let's see. Oh yeah, I like the way that's looking. All right, this looks pretty good. So I went ahead and I changed it the other way now. So rather than it being tilted this way, it's tilted this way. So I'm going to try to put a crisscross pattern on this. This one I definitely have never done before, so we'll see how this comes out. Yeah, that looks good. All right. And it's that simple. I'm not really putting any pressure. I'm just kind of holding it steady, holding it firmly onto the tool rest, and I'm just bringing it around. So now really quick, I'm going to take my parting tool. Rather than holding it this way, I'm going to hold it that way. And I'm just gonna square off and there we are. Looks good. I'm gonna do just a real light sanding of 320 again. Maybe, you know what, even 400. I don't want to lose this effect. I just want to knock it down just a hair. Right now it's really rough. Looks good. A lot smoother. I'm good with that. All right. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to finish. I'm going to put shine juice on this. And then we'll flip it around, hollow it out, and then we'll have to make the lid from there. All right, that will do. Then I'm going to get back with my bowl gouge and start hollowing this out. Do this really fast. I'm also going to, first I'm going to make this flush, because I need to leave an edge on here because my lid's gonna sit. I want a ring on here where the lid will sit in the middle of it. So, like I said, it's gonna be a mesquite lid, so there'll probably be like a 1/4 of an inch lip of this still, and it will inset into that. For me to do what I want to do, there's some cracks, as you can see, but I want my lip to be there, and like I said, it's going to be a lid that's going to kind of fit around this perimeter right here on top. I need to fill in all this before I continue any further. Not this so much. That's about as far, it's gonna go away anyways, all that material. But all these edges, I need to make sure that I'm really full. So I'm taking it off, I'm leaving it on the actual chuck so I don't have to rebalance it. And then I'm going to go ahead, use my coffee, my CA glue, and then we'll go from there. I've already showed you that process, so I'm not going to continue on to show you. I come back, it'll be back on there. The coffee will be dried in there. Should be filled in pretty nice. I'm just going to use my bowl scraper just to smooth out the edges here. See how we did. Looks really good. Now I'm going to take this and leave a bit of an edge on here, and then from there I could start hollowing. Back to the bowl gouge. All right, here we are. Looks pretty good. Nice and smooth. I need to go ahead, I'm gonna sand it down, get any little type of marks out of it. But all in all, it's looking good. I'll sand it, I'm gonna polish it, and then from there we'll move on to the lid, which I'm going to make out of mesquite. This is the basic shape I want the top. I may take a little bit more out of this center and scoop it just a hair. But I'm going to, before I do anything, I think I'm going to sand it, see how I like it. And then I'm not going to show you that part. I'm just going to sand it and then start taking off a little bit of this edge so I could get it to sit in here correctly. But I want to sand it almost 100% the way first. And once again, so I know that that part's done and then I have material to work with. So that's where I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to start sanding. It's sanded mostly how I want it on the outside here. But I need to now get it to the size where it's gonna fit in that lip that I was talking about. So now I'm gonna start slowly trimming back any of the outside here. I'm just gonna go straight with it, and hopefully we could get it to be absolutely perfect. So I have a piece of the sycamore, the same wood that the base is made out of, between two centers here. And all I'm gonna do, my main purpose right now, I'm gonna do a little spindle work. I'm gonna round this out really fast. And then I want to focus on one of the ends, need to fit in there. So I'm gonna make one end like a dowel, and it's gonna go inside, get glued in, and then from there, I'll start shaping it to what I think it should look like. But right now, main objective, just round it out real fast. Got my skew. So I want to point out what I'm doing here. So I have my skew, and I'm basically using it the same as a planer blade would. Imagine that planer blades would be on a piece that are spinning around, and all they're doing is chipping off some of the grain. Now, you can only do this on spindle work, and what I mean by spindle work are the grains are running this way, back and forth. If I was to turn this, I absolutely can't do that because it would want to dig in and catch. It only works because these fibers are really thin going long ways like this, and it's just, like I said, it's just a shave that it's doing. And if it goes the other way, it basically, imagine it bunched, it wants to get caught in the blade, and that's very dangerous. You never use the skew that way. So this was a quick way to do it. I could have used a bowl gouge. I could have used my, I could have used a roughing gouge, but I felt comfortable with this, and it's a quick little piece. So I did it this way. So now I need to take down some of this and get it to the size of what I think that dowel is going to be to fit inside of it. So let me do that now. All right, so I went ahead and put it on the chuck, and I still used my tail stock to make sure that I lined it up so it's still square from how I turned it. Now I could back off my tail stock, and I'm gonna start getting this down to size. I don't want to do it all at once just in case I mess up. If I go too thin and it it doesn't fit in there correct, then I have to do a whole new piece. That's it, that's perfect. So now I need to make it long enough that it's going to go all the way through this thing. So just to take it down really fast. Now I'm not going to sand any of this because you need the glue to stick and adhere to it really well. So I'm leaving it the way it is, just like the inside of the lid. This is still going to be rough. So it's going to stick on there nice, and we'll glue it all the way down. And then from there, we'll flip it, and then we'll start turning that again. Before I do that though, I want to do the texturing around this rim here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do that really fast, and then we'll glue the piece on. All right, I have it on. I'm going to try to do this. It's only going to be a small ring around this area here. So let me, I slowed down the lathe, and we'll go one direction, and then I'm going to do the other. That looks pretty good. All right, here we are. Now I'm going to bring it back. It's time for the moment of truth here to see how I did with sizing it up. I think we're going to be okay. I do now want glue on that. Look at that. Couldn't get any more perfect. Fits on there absolutely perfect. So I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to let it sit overnight to dry, and then I can continue on with that. But so far I think it's looking pretty good. We'll do a quick little test. Oh yeah. I'll have to bring this in still a little bit, but that's all right. It's going to be a lot more narrow too. I'm not going to have it this thick. And I'm going to bring it, I'm going to scoop it. So, it's looking good. I flipped it around on the chuck. I'm holding it by the part that's going to be the handle, the sycamore that we just glued on. I got to be really delicate here. I don't want it falling off, so I got to take nice, even cuts on this. But basically, I want to try to scoop this out a bit, and I'm going to. It's not going to be this thick. This is right now probably 3/4 of an inch to an inch thick, and I don't want it that thick, and I don't want it this big and heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking some of that off. here we are. And I have the other side finished and the edges here. Now I need to go ahead and turn this to exactly the type of lid I want. I have an idea in my head. We're gonna see if that's what I end up doing. Gonna fit. I think that's the perfect handle size. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna bore you with it, but I'm gonna go ahead and sand it down, put my tung oil on it, and then my shine juice. The tung oil will dry for a few hours, and then I shine it up with the tung juice or shine juice, and then I buff and wax everything. So far, I'm really happy with it. I think it's coming out great. I can't wait to see it completely oiled up and looking perfect. All right, that's it. The bowl's complete. I completely buffed and polished it, waxed it, and it looks beautiful. I'm quite happy with it. I think everything came out exactly the way that I wanted it, and it was a good little project. I really like making boxes, and I think I really like the texturing tool that I got. Once again, this was only really my second time using it. I did a test piece and then on here, and the results are really good, so I'm pretty happy with it. If you're interested in looking at the texturing tool from Robert Sorby, I'll have a link below the video. So check that out. And then I also have a link to the Facebook page. It's a Woodturners Journal group where anyone interested in wood turning or anyone who wants to show off their projects or, you know, they're learning about wood turning. It's a great Facebook group for all of that. Ask questions. It's a good community. And once again, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. And I just want to thank you for watching. Thank you.